princess and never courts drama, yet drama seems irresistibly drawn to her, especially on that warm Gloucestershire morning when an otherwise routine schooling ride on the broad lawns of Gatcombe Park went violently, silently wrong. 1 second she was easing her Irish sport horse into a collected canter, the next she was on the ground, helmet askew, consciousness ebbing away beneath the shade of an ancient beech. A startled groom sprinted across the dew-silvered turf, the horse danced sideways, nostrils flaring, and within minutes paramedics were threading intravenous lines while Sir Tim Lawrence, steel-spined naval veteran, husband of 32 years, kept his voice level enough to relay vital information yet felt his own pulse ricochet inside his chest. The ambulance doors thudded closed, blue lights smeared the gravel drive, and Gatcombe's resident kestrel wheeled overhead, oblivious to the fact that Britain's hardest-working royal had, in a single hoof-kick, crossed the thin and trembling border between indomitable and endangered. Buckingham Palace, practiced in the ancient art of understatement, described the incident as a minor concussion. Courtiers insisted Her Royal Highness was comfortable and in good spirits. The court circular ticked serenely onward. But inside Southmead's neurological trauma ward the atmosphere was neither minor nor comfortable. An intracranial pressure monitor beeped in unsettling syncopation, a CT scanner groaned across her skull, specialists whispered the phrase grade 3 TBI and warned Sir Tim that memory gaps, sensory sensitivity and phantom headaches could linger for weeks or for life. For the Princess Royal, whose diary rarely yields a free afternoon let alone convalescence, that prognosis felt more threatening than any surgical knife. For 48 hours she hovered in a haze of semi-lucidity, asking the same questions on repeat. Did the mare fall? What day is it? Have we postponed the RNLI ceremony? Each time Tim answered, her brow furrowed with the frustration of blank recollection. By day 3 cognition began to knit itself together. By day 5 she persuaded physicians to discharge her with a stack of neuro-rehab instructions she secretly considered overcautious. Yet even and could not deny the livid bruise that ringed her left eye or the vertigo that accompanied sudden turns of the head. Back at Gatcombe the Admiral became gatekeeper. No paperwork for 10 days, screens dimmed, diary frozen. She protested, of course she did, but the image of hospital fluorescents reflecting off stainless steel crash trolleys was still too fresh to ignore. In public, silence reigned. In private, conversations turned to legacy, longevity, and limits. At 74 the princess still eclipses every other Windsor in sheer output. Last year alone, 474 engagements, 45,000 road miles, 11 overnight train journeys, 7 countries, 1 concussion. Her father, the Duke of Edinburgh, had served until 96, and intended nothing less. But the injury carved a fissure in her unbreakable narrative. During early morning teas on Gatcombe's sun-dappled terrace she and Tim gamed out biographical arithmetic. If she gradually trimmed frontline duties by 10% each year beginning at 80, she could still present colours, attend memorials, and chair Save the Children conferences deep into her 90s, yet avoid the punishing 3 events per day regimen that currently defines her docket. It was a plan not of retreat but of strategic redeployment, honouring Philip's creed that relevance comes from showing up, not from burning out. When news leaked that the minor injury had in fact been serious enough to induce hospitalization, anesthesia, and lingering retrograde amnesia, public sympathy surged. Even Republican-leaning columnists grudgingly conceded that seeing her black-eyed but unbowed at a Midlands factory only 22 days later constituted a tour de force of grit. Yet physicians could read the telltale fatigue etched at the corners of her eyes. Neurologists knew concussion's second impact syndrome is ruthless. And so Trooping the Colour 2025 became the symbolic deadline, a moment when the kingdom would witness whether the Princess Royal could still ride at the head of the Blues and Royals, scarlet tunic gleaming, brain fully recovered, resolve uncompromised. Behind palace walls contingency plans multiplied, a carriage on standby, a side saddle option, even an alternate colonel to take the salute. And, learning of these safety nets, instructed staff to use them only if I'm horizontal. Meanwhile her long-term timetable crystallized, a phased decrescendo starting at 80, full retirement deferred until 90. The proposal, privately endorsed by King Charles and warmly supported by the Waleses, achieves multiple goals. It keeps institutional memory alive while younger royals incubate, it honors the late Queen's philosophy of duty until the body dictates otherwise, and it answers subtle Republican critique by demonstrating self-policing sustainability within the firm. Critics argue the monarchy should not lean so heavily on a septuagenarian workhorse. Admirers counter that few 70-something executives anywhere exhibit comparable stamina or institutional worth. Either way, the princess remains unmoved by ideology. She serves because service is the family business and because the waiting list of county shows, lifeboat launches and scout jamborees is as long as the River Severn. What lingers, though, is the spectre of memory loss. Anne's encyclopedic recall of regimental mottos, stallion pedigrees, the first names of charity volunteers met exactly once has always been her superpower. Waking in hospital without recollection of the accident struck at the heart of her identity. Since then she has quietly adopted cognitive training apps, increased omega-3 intake, and resumed the violin lessons abandoned in youth. Neurologists praise crosslateral stimulation. On nightstands across Windsor and Sandringham lie detective novels recommended by her physicians. Plotting whodunits, they say, strengthens hippocampal circuitry. She finishes one every 2 nights, marking cryptic marginalia in elegant fountain pen ink, evidence that synapses still fire on all cylinders. Yet risk management now shadows every engagement. Security teams reconnoiter uneven flagstone walks, equerries pre-evaluate lighting that might trigger migraine aura, dressers pack tinted lenses alongside brooches. Sir Tim, once content to meet her at whichever station platform she emerged, now accompanies at least half her journeys, keeping watch for exhaustion signals only spouses detect, slightly slurred consonants, a too bright flush in winter air, the fleeting glaze that precedes neural protest. When such cues surface he merely offers an arm, steers her toward a quieter room, orders tea laced with electrolytes, and engagement proceeds with the public none the wiser. Inside the firm, Anne's scare has jolted succession planning. The Duke of Edinburgh and Duchess Sophie will absorb half a dozen of her more physically taxing military patronages. Edward will now present the Queen's Awards for Enterprise in alternate years. The Duke of Gloucester's architectural charities transfer to the Princess of Wales once Catherine's health stabilizes. And, headline maker though it may be, the King has signalled that Princess Eugenie, technically non-working, could deputise on certain arts foundations to lighten her aunt's load. In effect, Anne's accident has accelerated the long-rumoured second wave of slimmed-down monarchy, fewer faces, but clearer specialisms and, ideally, healthier individual workloads. The princess herself remains allergic to introspection of the televised variety. Asked by a confidant whether the fall frightened her, she replied, "Horses kick. Gravity works. Best not tempt either." Yet late at night, Tim confides, she sometimes reaches absently to the left temple where the scar hides beneath silver-streaked hair, as though confirming the skull's integrity. Then she turns a page of Philip's well-thumbed memoir A Question of Balance, smiles at a marginal note her father penciled, stiff upper lip useful provided attached to functioning spine, and closes the book, satisfied she has both. Come June 2025, the mall will roar beneath a tapestry of red tunics and shimmering cuirasses. If all goes to plan, a bay charger will carry the Princess Royal past cheering crowds, her posture ramrod, her salute faultless. Few spectators will recall that 12 months earlier she lay in a dark ward navigating neural fog. Fewer still will know that within her jacket pocket rests a folded schedule drafted not in indigo ink but in compromise, plotting a glide path from unstoppable to sustainable. But the kingdom, seeing that unmistakable figure atop a horse once more, will understand instinctively that something precious, duty incarnate, duty endured, continues unbroken. And Sir Tim, watching from the stands, will allow himself the smallest nod, mission, for now, accomplished.